Ordinary people accustomed to buying securities.
Now there was another group of people who thought they could take advantage of this new investing culture. The bankers of Wall Street. For years, Wall Street, the center of American finance, was made up of a small elite group of bankers doing business with each other in a society closed off to the general public. But one man saw an opportunity that would change the face of the financial world. Charles Mitchell, president of National City Bank, spotted a lucrative gap in the market.
Mitchell saw that investors had purchased a lot of government bonds during World War I. And so he said, now we have an investing public there, all we need to do is market other products like corporate bonds, common stocks, and just tell people these are respectable investments.
Mitchell was a natural salesman with a big ambition. If people were willing to buy bonds to raise capital for the government, surely they could be tempted to buy stocks and shares to raise capital for private companies listed on the New York Stock Exchange. And they could make a profit for themselves in the process.
Gradually, people who never dreamed that they would invest in stocks were doing so, and stocks lost a lot of this stigma. Historically, stocks had been considered much too risky for ordinary people, whereas in the 1920s there was a sense that investing in stocks was not only safe, but reliable and respectable.
The idea took off, and to exploit this lucrative new market, Mitchell opened brokerage offices all across the country, where people who had the money but not the investment know-how could speculate in stocks and shares.
This speculative frenzy embraced all kinds of people, not just professionals. Ordinary people began participating as well in unprecedented numbers all across the country, not just New York City, but in cities and small towns all across America. People were in love with the stock market.
Technology made it all possible. The latest share prices flashed from Wall Street could be printed out within minutes across America using telegraphic ticker tape machines.
You could find ticker tape in nightclubs, in railroad depots, in beauty parlors, on ocean liners. The market became a pervasive part of America's play culture in the 1920s.
I eat, sleep, dream, talk stocks. The only way I believe to make money. It's exciting. I love it. $17,000 profit on $3,500 capital. Not bad.
There were wild speculations in all kinds of securities. Movie company stocks, aeronautical stocks, all the auto company stocks.
One of the hot stocks of the 1920s was Radio Corporation of America. It was a lot like today's Google. You know, it was cutting-edge technology. They had this idea that you could put radios in cars. Imagine that.
The American investing public began to connect the products they were using that were coming from corporate America with the notion that, hey, I might own a share of the company that makes that product that I like.
I'd have to see my broker, find out what he can do, 'cause I'm in the mall, get for you all sweet little.
By the mid-20s, around 3 million Americans were in the market, and Wall Street gripped the public imagination. With tales of fortunes being made overnight, the idea of a great bull market, where shares only seemed to go up, took hold.
Every popular magazine, every newspaper, every radio station was fascinated by what was going on in the stock market. People charted the activities of celebrities like Charlie Chaplin or Groucho Marx and were fascinated by what stocks they happened to be speculating in.
The young comic actor Groucho Marx invested all his savings into the market and was so pleased with his profits on paper that he persuaded his brothers to invest too.
What an easy racket. RCA went up 7 points since this morning. I just made myself $7,000.
But it wasn't just celebrities becoming speculators. The big Wall Street speculators were becoming celebrities themselves. They were thought of as creative, entrepreneurial, and bringing wealth to America. Joseph Kennedy, father of the future President Kennedy, was one of this new breed of shrewd financial superstar.
People were fascinated because some of these men, like Joseph Kennedy, were ordinary folks. They were men from nowhere, and their rapid rise on the market was a kind of inspiration to ordinary folk that might even be possible for them someday.
Stories circulated that anyone from bellboys to barbers could make easy money on the market. A shoeshine boy on Wall Street, Pat Bologna was one of those inspired by these tales of rags to riches.
Everyone was going to make a fortune. If you lived in New York, the stock market was king. My father was probably about 17 or 18. On a daily basis, he would shine the shoes of the great men of America. People like Joseph Kennedy, executives like Mitchell. He would converse with them and became somewhat of an expert on things like the Federal Reserve and things that you wouldn't think that a shoeshine would be expert on. But he was talking to the great minds of Wall Street every day, all day. And so my father began to invest in the stock market. If the truth be told, I learned how to reading the stock pages, because that was